You are in the Temple of the Rants, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Connor Pearson, who says, "Hey, you hairy bastard. Sorry for being late. Speaking of being a hairy bastard, rant about finding a hair/facial hairstyle you are happy with. You always tend to go from one extreme to the other whenever you make a change, rather than ever just getting a trim. There's a good reason for that. I have never had the experience of like maintaining a hairstyle in my life. I only found out people did that like late into high school. Um like I never understood why, like what logic by which people cut their hair, because when I was growing up, I had long hair most of the time. And every time I did have a haircut, it was always a bowl cut because I just didn't know. I had no idea what to get, and it would just be like my mom took me somewhere and just told him I don't know. I don't know why the fuck I would have a bowl cut. Maybe it was just the only name of a haircut that I knew, so I asked for it or something. I truly do not know. But like if you look at pictures of me growing up, I always either had a bowl cut or really long hair because my mom thought long hair was cool, and so did I. So I usually had it grown out and looked like a little girl. When I got into middle and high school, the reason I would cut my hair is that I would let it get so bad because I would never brush it. And like it would get to a point where it was just a big knotted bird's nest on the back of my head. One time my grandma paid me $100 to have my hair cut, and then after that it had to be done another time. But like generally, yeah, I would just grow my hair out and then cut it when it was no longer viable to have. And I had grown it out for like a good almost 6 years when I was like 20, maybe 19 or 20, when I finally cut it off. Like it was going down to my knees, and it was just a problem. Like just having long hair was just, it would get stuck on shit all the time. Like it would be in the way. It was hard to manage. I usually had it in a braid because I would have my mom braid it every couple of days or so, like basically every time I took a shower. And yeah, so I would wear it in this like gigantic French braid, but it was just such a pain in the ass to maintain that I cut it, and then I realized like, okay, I never want to have long hair like this again. But like I also am a cheap ass. I don't want to have to go pay for haircuts all the fucking time, and I like the way it looks up to a certain length. Like basically I just grow it out until I decide it's a pain in the ass. And usually I get it cut at the start of the summer because it gets too hot. You know, like having all that hair on your neck, it gets hot, and like when it's not long enough to put in a ponytail, it really sucks. So like, and you know, May likes the way it looks long too. So it's basically just I grow it out until it starts clogging the drain and getting hot in the summer, and then I cut it again. As for the facial hair, it's kind of the same logic. And like when I first started growing facial hair, it looked like shit. Like from pretty much when I was 14 up to like 22, it would not grow in this center part. It wouldn't grow right here in the sides, and like it was just all around patchy and hideous. And like I was afraid to be clean shaven basically because I was kind of overweight and I don't have a very well defined like jaw and chin. So when I have a shaved face, I feel like my neck and my face are too indistinguishable. So you know, the few times I had clean shaven face, I just didn't like it. So I would usually try to keep it grown out, but it looked so patchy and bad. For a while when I was in college, I was wearing it as a goatee. But again, it wouldn't grow in this center track, so it was still patchy even as a goatee. It still looked like shit. When I finally got my hair cut, I was also clean shaven, so it was like I went full clean for a little while, and then eventually it finally started to grow in fully. And like I just think I look better with at least stubble. But again, it's a matter of how often you have to shave and how difficult it is to maintain at a certain length, because like buzzing through your beard, it's not easy to get it all consistent. And I've had bad experiences where I tried to make it a certain length and it just was either too short or just too didn't come out good, you know. And like I was just like, man, I can't fucking get this to look right. So I'd rather just grow it out until it's doesn't look good or is in the way. Like my mustache grows really long, so at some point it starts getting in my food. You know, it's like when I'm trying to eat, it pushes the hairs into my mouth and I end up eating my hair, or it's harder to make out because there's fucking hair in the way and I gotta constantly like move my mustache out of the way before I use my mouth. But I also am lazy, so like I'll let it grow out for like a month longer than I think I should, just because I don't ever find the chance to go shave my face. But like I've gotten better about it. I usually shave my neck just because I don't like the itchiness and the heat, particularly when it's like kind of short. Once it gets a little longer, if I have not gotten around to it, then it's not so bad. But there's also a problem of my neck hair tends to grow out longer than my chin hair, and that looks really terrible. So that's why I try to keep the neck trimmed up, and at least shorter than the beard hair. But like overall, it's just like I don't like to do maintenance. I don't like to have to take time out of my day to take care of myself, you know? Like I don't mind showering because it's relaxing and I don't like to stink. So, like, if I start to smell bad, I'm like, all right, I need to shower because I don't want to have to smell my own smell. But like when it comes to my hair and beard, it's basically like as long as May thinks it looks good, I see no reason to do anything to it. Once she starts saying like your beard's getting a little too long, it's a little too in the way, then I'm like, all right, it's time to shave the beard. But the hair is mostly my thing. It's like if I'm sick of the hair clogging the drain or sick of it being hot, then I get it cut short. And I don't really know any hairstyles. I don't like know what to ask for. So I always just tell them like cut it down to an inch. Like just cut it short. Make sure it's shorter in the back than it is in the front so it doesn't grow out into a mullet as it usually does. And I just get kind of the same short hair. I tell them like I'm not going to do anything to it, so just make sure that I can wake up and go and it'll look relatively correct. So, that's how I end up with this hair. And yeah, like that's always been the methodology since I started cutting my hair and actually trimming my beard. But sometimes I let it grow out a little longer just to see how far I can go. Like 2016 when I had the fucking gigantic wizard beard, I literally just wanted to know how long it could get, but it was such a fucking hassle. It was really in the way. Like I was going through a phase where I liked eating soup a whole lot, and like not only would the soup like drop into my beard, but like it was long enough that if I just turned my head down, it could get into my soup, So, yeah, long beards, kind of a meme, big in the way. I did it once for the meme, but I'll never grow my beard out that long again. As for the hair, it's more of a maintenance thing. I mean, if May ever tells me one time, like, I want you to grow your hair out really long, and I'll personally take care of it, just grow it out because I want to see it, then maybe I'll consider it. But living as I do now in Virginia again, where it's very humid through the summer, having a lot of hair is not the most fun way to spend the summer. I usually grow it out in the winter because it's cold, and I'd rather have something covering my head. So I think this is a good cycle that I'm in.